Imagine a place so cold, fire itself struggles to breathe. Siberia, the tundra. Temperatures plummet to an unimaginable -71 degrees Celsius. Here, survival isn't a game. It's a brutal minute-by-minute battle against an unforgiving landscape. The air is so frigid it can freeze your lungs, and the vast white emptiness can swallow you whole. For the nomadic camps scattered across this frozen desert, life is hard, but it's a life they know. They understand the rules of the ice. But this year, something new arrived with the blizzards. Something that didn't follow the old rules. A predator. Deep in the Arctic night, under the swirling dance of the aurora, a shadow began to move. At first it was just a whisper on the wind, a fleeting shape at the edge of the firelight. Then the whispers turned to screams. A man-eating tiger, a phantom of the snow, was stalking the camp. This wasn't just any tiger. It was a creature born of the extreme cold, impossibly large, impossibly cunning. It struck during the fiercest blizzards, using the howling wind and blinding snow as its cover. One by one, members of the community vanished, leaving behind nothing but a chilling silence and a growing sense of dread. Fear became the new fire, burning hotter and brighter than any woodpile. The hunters, men who had faced down bears and braved the worst nature could throw at them, were now the hunted. They tracked the beast, but its prints would vanish into thin air, as if it could walk on the wind itself. The camp was a fortress under siege, but the walls were made of ice, and the enemy was a ghost. Panic set in. Was this a tiger or something else? A spirit of the tundra, woken from an ancient slumber, angry and vengeful. The community was tearing itself apart, suspicion and terror gnawing at their bonds. Amidst the growing despair, investigators were called in, seasoned experts in wildlife and survival. They examined the scene of the latest attack, searching for any clue, any mistake the creature might have made. What they found only deepened the mystery. There were claw marks, deep and vicious, gouged into the frozen earth and the sides of the yurts. But they were wrong. The pattern was strange, unlike any tiger they had ever studied. The spacing, the depth, the angle, it didn't make sense. It was as if the animal was trying to communicate, writing a message in a language of violence that no one could read. The experts were stumped. The nomadic elders, with their generations of wisdom, saw only dark omens in the strange marks. Was it a territorial warning? A ritualistic marking? Or simply the frenzied scratches of a deranged beast? Theories flew like snowflakes in the storm, each more terrifying than the last. The claw marks became a symbol of their helplessness, a constant, chilling reminder of the unknown horror that lurked just beyond the firelight. The camp felt like it was on the brink of collapse, not from the cold, but from the sheer psychological terror of the unsolvable puzzle. But inside one of the warmest yurts, huddled close to the stove, was a creature no one would ever suspect of holding the key, a parrot named Coco. He was a vibrant splash of green and red against the endless white of the tundra, a traded treasure from a far-off southern land. To most, he was just a pet, a mimic who chattered nonsense and repeated snippets of conversation. His owner, a young boy named Sasha, loved him dearly, finding comfort in his familiar squawks as the world outside grew colder and more dangerous. Coco was a fragment of a warmer, safer world, a living, breathing memory of sunshine. While the men debated and the experts puzzled over the claw marks, Coco watched. He listened. His bright, intelligent eyes missed nothing. He heard the panicked whispers, the fearful cries, the frustrated arguments. He saw the maps spread out, the drawings of the strange symbols, and he began to do what parrots do best, started to mimic. But it wasn't just random words. He became obsessed with a single sound, a strange, guttural, rhythmic noise he had heard echoing from the blizzard. A sound the humans had dismissed as the wind. And then he started talking, repeating one phrase over and over again, with an urgency that was impossible to ignore. Claw is key. Claw is key. He'd squawk, ruffling his feathers. At first, Sasha just laughed. It was another one of Coco's silly games, but the parrot was relentless. He'd fly over to the crude drawings of the claw marks and tap his beak on them, screeching, "Claw is key." He'd mimic the scraping, grinding sound he'd heard in the night, a sound that sent a shiver down Sasha's spine. The boy began to wonder, Was it just a game? Or was Coco trying to tell him something? He looked from the parrot to the drawings, and for the first time he didn't see random scratches. He saw a pattern. Sasha, clutching Coco, ran to the lead investigator, explained his crazy theory how his bird seemed to connect the claw marks to a specific sound, a rhythmic scraping. The investigator was skeptical, but the desperation in the camp was so thick you could cut it with a knife. He was willing to listen to anything. He looked again at the claw marks, this time not as an animal's signature, but as a code. "Claw is key," the parrot shrieked, as if encouraging him. The investigator's eyes widened, suddenly realized what he was looking at. They weren't claw marks at all. They were tool marks. The claws were the teeth of a heavy-duty ice saw, the kind used in industrial operations. The rhythmic, scraping sound Coco had mimicked wasn't a growl. It was the sound of a machine cutting through permafrost. There was no man-eating tiger. There was no ancient spirit. The real predator was far more cunning and far more human. The attacks were staged, the bodies moved. Someone was using the legend of the tiger to create panic, to drive the nomads off this land. Why? Because beneath the frozen ground, buried under layers of ice and snow, was something incredibly valuable. Diamonds. The truth sent a shockwave through the camp, a jolt of clarity that cut through the fog of fear. The monster was a group of illegal miners, using the cover of the blizzards and the local superstitions to conduct their operation in secret. They had a powerful ice-cutting machine, which they disguised with a tiger-like chassis to fool anyone who might catch a glimpse. The claw marks weren't a message. They were the accidental signature of their greed, the tracks left by their machinery. The parrot Coco, with his sharp hearing and incredible mimicry, had picked up on the one clue the humans had missed, the unnatural mechanical sound of the beast. He hadn't just solved the mystery, he had exposed a cold, calculated human plot. The tundra was still a dangerous place, but the greatest danger had never been a tiger. It had been the darkness within the human heart, and it took the brilliant mind of a little bird to bring it all into the light. Thank you so much for watching this incredible story of survival and surprising intelligence. If you were as amazed by Coco as we were, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more unbelievable true stories. We'll see you next time.